This isn't even really basketball news, and it's football news, but it's not even really football news. It's football related news. You see, Tom Brady's in the news again, this time not necessarily for the Deflategate, but for Donald Trump defending Brady about Deflategate, saying that he calls him a good friend, and that he knows he's a great guy, and that this suspension is just unfair. And you know what? If Donald Trump is calling you a friend and he's defending your character, you know you're probably an asshole. So I say, just for being friends with Donald Trump, we upgrade Brady's suspension from 4 games to 40. Fuck it. Nobody should ever be proud of Donald Trump saying that they're a great guy, because that's just nasty. That's just wrong on every level. Greetings and welcome to the Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Allen. This is WNBA Weekly, the show where twice a week, usually on Mondays and Fridays, I talk about things that happened recently in the association and things I'm looking forward to in the upcoming games. And we had a huge weekend full of a lot of big action. It's basically playoff time already for a lot of these teams. They're fighting for seeding, some of them fighting just to get in. We have a couple of people who are already guaranteed and many others who are still trying to punch their ticket, officially at least. So we have, on Friday, every single team in the league was in action. You have the Lynx getting a commanding win. You have the Fever dominating. You also have the Liberty getting a strong win. You've got a huge showdown between the Mystics and the Sky. You have the Mystics with Meessemen and Dolson. They had some big games, and they looked like they were leading the Mystics to a win until Quigley hits a three-pointer with like 2 seconds left to go, and the Sky end up getting a win. Then you have, the Mercury. They came to play. At least 3 of them came to play, but they ended up getting, pretty much handled by the Sparks. Who grab another, the Sparks. So they grab a big win. But the Mercury, despite losing that game, still clinch a playoff berth because the Stars lost. And then you'll have Sunday, just another big game full of action. Starting with the Mystics once again. I mean, watching that game, the Mystics almost looked like the Liberty. They were controlling the paint. Kia Vaughn, she does an excellent job. Imagine, and Latoya Sanders, she missed the time, but when she's healthy, she's a force in there. And they looked like they could get another win. But once again, it came down to the last shot. Cappy Pondexter hitting a layup with 6 seconds left to go. As the Sky hold on to win that game by 2, they've now beat the Mystics. So the Mystics, they beat the Lynx twice in a row, and that was great. That's very important. But then they lost 2 in a row to the Sky. The Sky overtake them for 3rd place and own the tiebreaker over them. So that's really important for the standings. Then you have Candace Parker. She was 1 assist short of a triple-double. And so the Los Angeles Sparks, they get a commanding win over the Stars. Then you have the Mercury, they show some great defense and they stifle the Lynx offense once again. And I'm a little worried about the Lynx. They've lost 3 of the last 4 games. They're 4-5 since the All-Star break, and part of it, and it's just they beat the Stars. Yeah, that's great, but they lost to the Mercury. They lost to the Mystics. They're losing to the playoff teams that they might have to face in postseason. So, there are some things to be worried about there. I still think they can turn around. Something's just not clicking for them. They need to get stuff figured out. But I think they should be okay, just given time. Problem is, they don't really have time. They kind of need to fix it now, because the Mercury, with that win, and they've still got they're like 1 game behind them, and they've still got to face each other one more time this season. So Minnesota's got to get their shit straight really quick. And then you've got the Dream destroying the Sun, who have now lost 4 straight. And then you've got the Fever and the Liberty. The Fever currently chasing the Liberty for 1st place in the Eastern Conference. And actually, wasn't there a movie called Chasing Liberty? Yeah, it was starring Mandy Moore as the president's daughter. That was a horrible movie, if I'm remembering it correctly. Anyway, the Fever, they go into New York. They destroy the Liberty. Okay, they don't destroy them, but they do dominate them. They get a strong victory, and they're now a game closer to the Liberty. And they right now the Fever, they're just looking almost unstoppable. They've gotten back on track. They've only lost one game since the All-Star break, and they're looking like a very, very scary team right now. And I think Seattle played someone too. Let's check that. Whatever. So, that's moving on to all the games being played this week. There's actually only 3 games being played. One on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, one on Thursday. So be sure to check those out if you can. I'll be listing them. The times I'll be telling you are Eastern Standard Time, so make sure to adjust for your time zone. And as always, I'll tell you which ones are being broadcast nationally. For the rest, you can check your local listings or catch every single game on WNBA Live Access. So we first start on Tuesday, which is actually a morning game between Connecticut at Atlanta at 11:30 a.m. on NBA TV. And Connecticut, they're on a long losing streak, and they just lost to Atlanta on Sunday. So they're looking to get some vengeance, get on a winning streak, because they're still desperately clinging to their playoff hopes. It doesn't seem likely, but it is still possible right now. Then you've got Wednesday, Los Angeles at Indiana. And this game, that one's on at 7 p.m. on NBA TV. And that's worth watching alone just because Tamika's going to be guarding Candace. Because if she's not, I'm going to be pissed. Like, I need to see that head-to-head. And, you got the Fever, who are really hot. They're on a big winning streak. And they're looking for that number 1 spot. The Sparks, they won't go any higher than 3rd. We already know that, but they could still get knocked out of the playoffs if they lose too many games. So they still need to put some strong wins together. And so this one should be fun and interesting. And then on Thursday you finish out the week with Phoenix at Connecticut. That one's on at 7 p.m. So that's it for this edition of WNBA Weekly. Tune in on next week on Friday for another all-new edition. And until then, this has been The Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Lau. Have a good week.